In payments, there's no such thing of we sold 90% and we are fine. So payments is a critical infrastructure. Most of the people in the enterprise companies, whenever it comes to optimize the payments, the reaction usually, it works. Accepting payments doesn't mean it works. This is one of the domain you have zero tolerance to make any mistake. So if you're a founder and if you're trying to do it to make money, don't do it.
We've been bringing you stories about retail and commerce largely, but today I'm delighted to be speaking to somebody who's building the next layer of commerce, the moment of truth as we call it, payments, and somebody who understands the entire unified payment space. I'm delighted to introduce Emre, the co-founder of Payrails. Welcome to the show, Emre.
Thanks, Andreessen. Thanks a lot for having me.
It's such a pleasure meeting you. I think one of the few people who I meet who instantly understand what Find does, which is orchestrating the entire commerce platform. And you do something similar on the payment side, right?
That's correct.
We want to get more deeper into it, but before that, our listeners would really like to understand who's Emre and understand the person behind the professional.
Sure.
Would love to learn about your early days, and
Sure.
And some learnings that you got in your childhood.
Sure. So I have been in the payment space for a long time. In the last 15 years, I have been in the payment space. So initially, I was on the merchant side. So as a product manager, built up payment acceptance from scratch back in 2010. During those days, there wasn't digital payments as a mainstream method. So then I transitioned to a corporate life. I work for a company called BKM in Turkey, like a local MasterCard switch system in Turkey, again as a product manager, more on the technical side, building products around the user needs.
Right.
So then I moved to a payment service provider called EasyCo, later on acquired by PayU. So at that company, I was more towards business development, how to generate new revenue streams, how to expand the offerings, how to build up a nice offering for enterprise clients. Then I came to Germany, joined Delivery Hero. So I was on the merchant side, went through the journey in different, let's say, parts. So card network, payment service provider. I again came back to the merchant side. So back to the part where I started. So in a food delivery business, I was overseeing Fintech across 70 countries, including that region. So and I spent 5 years in the company. So building payment strategy, building payment initiatives around the world. So then, in the last 4.5 years, I have been in the entrepreneur journey. So I have been in this emotional roller coaster with my partners. So overseeing again payments.
Right, and I think so. This is where the beauty lies, right? So payments is the moment of truth. Most people, most professionals really focus on the scale up of the platform until payments.
Yep.
And then what happens once the payment is done is really, in that sense, not deeply understood by people. So we'd love to understand more on that side. But before that, tell me, between 2010 and 2026, you've seen this evolve dramatically. Yeah. A lot of the business cases that have been formed in internet businesses are finding gaps in the market and then figuring out how to solve them. But from a payment orchestration perspective, you've built something that's unique in that sense, right? You're actually challenging the way the business is run. And so tell us something about that story. How's that evolution been?
Sure.
What have been?
Again, back in 2010, it wasn't all about value-added services. It was all about accepting payments. So whichever the method is. So I just want to accept payments as a merchant. So I have clients, I have an offering. It might be a product or service. So in exchange of delivering that value, I need to accept payments. That's the whole objective of companies. And there are multiple services offered by traditional companies to the degree of accepting payments.
Yes.
So then that evolved. That need evolved around the evolution in e-commerce. So they were different models introduced to the system, marketplaces, right? So marketplace is different than traditional e-commerce in the marketplace world. So you needed sub-merchants, you needed sellers, so which you need to go through the KYC, KYB flows, onboarding flows. You need to split the revenue, so you need to do payouts, so which wasn't the case for the e-commerce businesses. Then subscription businesses.
Yes.
You need to store the credentials. You need to put a schedule and capture the payments according to that schedule, agree with the end user.
Yes.
So then different models evolved. So while the business models were evolving, so the localization was also bringing another layer of the complexity to the picture. So here we are in UAE. So the user behavior and expectations are completely different than Turkey. Yes. It's different than Germany.
Yes.
So in Germany, you cannot imagine e-commerce without offering PayPal.
Yes.
It's impossible.
It's
In
impossible.
Turkey, you cannot offer PayPal because it's not allowed.
All right.
Because payments is also highly regulated industry. So
Right.
then e-commerce evolution, regulations, and the local needs of the customers shaped around this world and build up this whole complexity.
Right. Right. And you've been on both sides, like you rightly said, right? You've been on the merchant side. And that's something that's very fascinating for our listeners because they're mostly on the merchant
Yeah.
side. Help me understand, what are the top two or three problems that you actually saw and that you thought it's worthwhile to leave a very easy, a very comfortable job and actually move into spending sleepless nights?
Yes, sleepless night is the right way to define that. So I think the advantage of being on the merchant side is seeing the picture from the other side of the table, right? So and the top 2-3 challenges before going there. So let's focus on the first objective. Everybody in the payment space on the merchant side is trying to find the channels possibly the lowest cost but creates the maximum conversion. So how can I find that setup for my business? Lowest cost, maximum conversion.
Right.
So essentially achieving that objective is not easy. So because payments is something at the end of the chain. So you try to convince user to come to your checkout, to your platform, trying to offer them the best experience, to convince them to enroll to platform, subscribe to platform, having an amazing UI or UX, so to convince them to buy something, right? Then place the order. So after you click that button, even before you click that button, so offering different payment methods, capturing the information, passing through different internal applications. It might be an OMS system in the retail space. It might be a PMS system in the travel space, different internal applications, CRM system, billing systems. Bringing all together, tidying up to your payment system, gaining flexibility to because always on top of the lowest cost, highest conversion is the challenge. The
Right.
technical challenge is the biggest problem for most of the enterprises. So whenever you work with one single provider, that's the decision that you need to make. Okay, this
Right.
provider is great. So, but the compromise that now you're taking, I'm no longer in a position to gain flexibility to optimize that setup, but I have a simple setup that align with all these internal application.
Right.
So then you find yourself in that question. So are we ready to make our payments flexible but complex?
Right.
So if you
Paradoxical in that
exactly,
sense.
if you
Yeah.
did answer yes, so then the challenge is technical. So how can you abstract payments from your business native flows, from your all internal applications, and building an abstraction layer that helps you to have better reconciliation, that helps you to enable any integration at any time, that helps you to unify the customer support, that helps you to unify chargebacks, different components around the payments.
Right. And in payments, like all other use cases, the negative flows is really where the focus is, right? And that makes a difference, right? One negative feedback and everything else falls apart.
Of course.
How much of your time do you spend, really worrying about what could possibly go wrong on a negative flow? Or do you see them as edge cases and you say, as long as we solve for 90% of the problem, it's okay, and 10% we'll manage?
In payments, there is no such thing of we solve 90% and we are fine. So payments is a critical infrastructure. So, and this is one of the domain, you have zero tolerance to make any mistake. You
Yes.
can't make a mistake. So I'm marketing people or HR people, I hope they don't take me wrong, but if your HR tool is down or if there's a, let's say, edge case problem 10%, you are fine, you can continue your life. Or the marketing campaign is not running well. So yes, there's a monetary, let's say, disadvantage, financial disadvantage that you will bear, but it is fine, you can continue your life.
Yes.
But payments, no.
No.
If payment doesn't work, you don't process order.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you close the shop.
Yeah.
Imagine we go together now to Carrefour and the cashier system doesn't work.
Yes.
It's a chaos.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, so I think that's great. Coming back to the question on your co-founders, right? The three of you were working together. And then what was that like? What was the conversation of actually thinking about doing something that is going to revolutionize payments?
Yeah.
And then deciding to actually embark on the journey together.
Yeah.
What are those conversations like?
I mean, there are two parts. The one is the opportunity, and what we can disrupt in the market. Second is our dreams.
Right.
So myself and my partner, so we have been together since 2017.
Nice.
So my co-founder and I, and we have been always dreaming about being a founder, making an impact in payments.
Right.
As a person spent my 15 years, I wanted to make an impact in the industry. I wanted to change something,
Right.
so which will create value to the ecosystem.
Right.
Over the years at Delivery Hero, what we have seen, again, what I described in the very beginning, payment is very, very highly complex industry.
Yes.
So regulations, localization, and payments is an indispensable part of the order journey, e-commerce journey.
Right.
So it is super complex. But the moment that you create the right setup, it also creates a huge value, financial value to your balance sheet.
Right.
So the moment that you reduce your cost,
Right.
EBITDA impact, the moment that you increase the conversion rate, so you essentially help to increase the customer lifetime value.
Right.
So the moment that you reduce the fraud decline rate, so the moment that you reduce the chargebacks, these are all financial impacts.
Right.
So what we have seen at Delivery Show, this complexity. So many players, they weren't in a position to solve that.
Right.
They can, but you still as an enterprise tend to compromise on something.
Right.
But as an enterprise at that time, we didn't want to compromise on anything, but we wanted to gain flexibility and the right toolbox
Right.
to achieve the objective of finding the best channel to optimize the cost while increasing the conversion.
Nice.
So that journey essentially was, in the Delivery Hero times, was very, very challenging. We couldn't find any partner who
Right.
can give exactly what we needed. There are different partners, there are different companies, they were all amazing,
Right.
but not to the degree of flexibility that we needed.
Right.
So we built so many things in-house at Delivery Hero.
Wow.
So wasn't the easiest thing, but also very fun.
Well, yeah, I'm sure.
So it was very fun. I mean, imagine we were 20 people and we had to scale the team to 300 people.
Wow.
So in a very short time frame, we need to build up a solution that should cover different requirements of different countries, from Malaysia to Argentina.
Right.
Imagine the challenge from the technical
From the
point of
technical
view that we were exposed to.
Right.
So anyways, long story short, we built this up, we deployed, and we realized the moment, okay, that's a
Right.
need in the industry.
Right.
So many big enterprises and scale-ups, they need a flexible solution. So
Yeah.
payments is something you cannot compromise on the quality.
Right.
So we need to give them flexible, scalable, resilient solution so they can essentially embed into their platform. So, I mean, you know this, the migration projects.
Yes.
So one of the most famous migration projects is always SAP migration.
Yes.
So always, it's a necessary process, but everybody is also scared,
Yes.
right? Because it's a huge process.
Yes.
So we were in a position, okay, we should never put people into position to face something they should scare.
Yes.
So we need to give them the confidence our solution will sit on top of what they have built, while they can protect their legacy. Our product will enrich that legacy.
Right.
So bring it to the level where they should be.
Right.
So filling the gaps.
Right.
That's why we come up with the idea of Payrails, modular payment platform.
Amazing. Amazing. Very similar to what we do. So we have a modular commerce platform, right? And then I completely get what you're saying. But if you were to put a number to this, because a lot of people at times don't understand the implication of not following that, is there a number to it of what's the kind of P&L impact in terms of conversion or cost efficiency that CFOs lose because they're not looking at payments orchestration?
Look, there are different companies in different size, so it's all boils down to your existing setup. So there is no magical number I can tell this is what you are essentially leaving on the table. So, but I can tell you a couple of clients that we work with. So what they materialize after working with us. So let's say one of them was 5 million euro on the conversion uplift.
Oh,
So
wow.
just optimizing costs, just
Look.
having a smarter way to split the transactions and smarter way to retry their transaction when they get failed in the first attempt, they materialize 5 million euro uplift. It's
In a
huge
year.
amount. Exactly, it's a huge amount,
Right.
right? So, and here, what is the most important thing that we don't factor in that number? These users, without having a smart way to handle their payments, when they decline, they could have churned from the platform.
Yes.
Imagine the cost that you bear,
Yes.
because the money that you spend to convince them to buy something in your platform
Yes.
is also a line in your P&L.
Yes.
So this number is not added, this 5 million euro.
Wow. This is
Imagine.
actual transaction. Yeah, you're right.
It's a huge impact.
Yes. And in the consumer's mind, they're actually declining the platform, not coming back to the platform. They would say XYZ platform is not good, not the payment gateway, right?
Exactly. So because as a consumer, I don't mind what's happening behind.
Yeah.
To be frank, I don't care.
You don't care.
So
Yeah.
am I accepted or not? And imagine at delivery show,
Yeah.
the customers were hungry. Imagine yourself when you are hungry, impatient, right?
Yeah.
Your tolerance is very low.
Yeah.
The moment your transaction declined, you are trying to find someone to blame. Why my transaction is not going through?
Yeah. Or worse, your transaction went through, but your order is not confirmed.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or imagine you're a legitimate customer and the platform is thinking you are a fraudulent transaction.
Wow.
It's even more frustrating.
Yes.
So, or you want to buy, let's say, your favorite shoes, right? So you want to buy that shoe, you really need that, you like it. I mean, one thing that we're missing in the digital transactions, there's a human being there. So when they are placing an order, there's an emotion attached to that order.
Right.
So the moment that you decline, it's not about the transaction. So you let the customer down. So, right? So that's why as a merchant, one of the important priority is how to improve the user experience. User experience is not about only offering the nice UI.
Yeah.
So handling these negative cases, the not the happy pets.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And that's where the most important learnings also come, right? From, I think lead question to that is you're Turkish yourself. You've spent a lot of time in Europe, but you told me you spend more time in Dubai than you do elsewhere, right? And so some key learnings in this space, right? Because this entire global experience and exposure, right? How are you finding the Middle East to be different from your previous experience so far?
So what I like in Middle East, so every country here, they have kind of their own local scheme, their local, let's say, debit card channels, so which makes the industry fragmented. So even this is a technical challenge, but the value towards the platform is also very significant. So these local channels are offering, let's say, cost-efficient payment acceptance to merchants.
Right.
These local rates are also offering higher auth rates compared to international skills. So that's why, to some extent, this fragmented setup, while it's creating a technical challenge, also creating value to the merchants, which I really like. So overall, and also what I really find in this region, so I remember back in my times when Apple Pay was launched.
Yeah.
This region was one of the fastest adaptation. I mean, that was insane when I saw the numbers. People were using Apple Pay. I was like blown away. So I couldn't see these numbers in other countries.
Right.
I could see how tech savvy this region and the users are fastly adapting that.
Right. Right. I think, and that leads to my next question, which is largely about, you got some of the best names backing you in terms of funding. And of course, obviously the business case is there, but what did it take for you to kind of put yourselves out there and put together a project that is invaluable for such big names to kind of back you?
So I think in the seed investment round, it's all about the team and the idea.
Right.
So, but the team is the main indication for an investor to put the money to bet on.
Right.
So, I mean, I think our story was good. So we built a solution at delivery. Sure, we scale it to a certain degree, and it was giving the right confidence to investors. Okay, so this team has a relevant experience. And if you look at also the background, so as you mentioned, I'm from Turkey.
Yes.
My co-founder, he's from Azerbaijan. So we both coming from relatively emerging countries where you need to always, let's say, be ahead of the execution. You need to essentially move really fast.
Yes.
So I think that also built up a strong interpersonal skills. So, and to some extent, while going through all these challenges as a person from Turkey, relocate to another country, finding your own way, building a startup. So it's by default a challenge. So I think that was also a different factor for investors to get the right confidence. So the idea and the team, the Bayer background.
Right. Amazing. And in the region, how do you see specific to the Middle East, because a lot of our listeners are founders of startups in the region. Any advice you want to give them on, when you're starting up in your first 12, 18 months, what should they look at?
So first of all, they need to accept it's going to be really, really hard.
Yes.
So look, so the life of a founder, extremely tough. So not because of the, let's say, scaling the business. So the emotional part. So early days, maybe still sometimes, imagine the worst day in your life. The worst day. And imagine the happiest day in your life.
Okay.
And now imagine you are in these two edges during the day.
Oh, throughout.
So it's like fluctuated all the day. So you're in the let's say mid of the day, you feel that okay, we are unicorn already. So 1 hour later, you have a bad news.
My God.
We're not gonna make this happen. So then 1 hour later, oh, amazing. So we're gonna be decacorn. So handling that emotional challenge, emotional roller coaster,
Right.
is the biggest challenge.
Okay.
It's really tough because at some point you don't realize what is the real situation. So
Right.
are we doing well? Should we be concerned? So I think in the first 2 years for us, at least for me, so that's the biggest challenge, having this emotional roller coaster, adapting to the moment. What I can recommend, guys, you're gonna pass this behind. Don't worry. Just continue. Just continue.
Do you follow any regime that helps you kind of stay balanced, or did you develop any techniques that help you?
So for me, there are two things. One is my partner, so my co-founder. So because I think having, let's say, so spending the last 9 years built up a strong, let's say, partnership.
Right.
So it's like it became at some point yin yang.
Right.
So whenever I'm down, so he needs to pull me up. Whenever
Right.
he's done, I'm pulling him up,
Oh,
right?
nice.
So it's a right partnership.
Nice.
And my family, so my daughter and my wife.
Amazing.
So having this support, always believing that somebody is this with you, no
Right.
matter the result is, it's always giving me the right energy. Okay, it's fine. We're gonna pass this behind. So we just need to continue.
Right, right. No, great points. And I think now coming to the future, right? So the next 5 years is all going to be about AI, the way
Yeah,
we are
definitely.
talking about, right? And beyond building efficiency, AI is also going to do a lot in terms of agentic solutions, etc. How are you seeing this play out over the next 5 years?
I think it's gonna be, the impact is gonna be massive, right? So nobody can ignore that. So, but I would love to be a bit pessimistic here. So today, there is no commercial value or there is no significant problem that you can solve with agentic commerce for the end user.
Right.
So I don't see any use case today.
Okay.
Indeed, it's gonna evolve. Indeed, it's gonna become much more visible and valuable for also the end customer. But you know what we do often? So we are a B2B business,
Yes.
but we often talk to end customers
Right.
of our merchants. So trying to see if there's any gap still as a payment service provider we can offer, we can enhance.
Right.
So based on our surveys, still we couldn't see proper strong use case for agenting that we need to double down.
Right.
Today, it is still in the innovation phase, R&D, which I find it amazing.
Okay.
So, but for a company like Payrails, in our scale, it has to be commercial value.
Okay.
And today, it's not there.
Okay.
What I'm foreseeing in the next 5 years, it's going to be much more structured,
Right.
and we're going to adapt, and we're going to unlock the value for
Right.
the merchants and for the end customers.
Right. And from an overall currency market perspective, right? How do you see any digital tokens, etc., kind of becoming currency over the next couple of years, or you think that's still far away?
So, stable coins, right? So
Right.
one of the, let's say, most known use case, stable coin based payouts.
Right.
If you look at the problem it's being solved, emerging countries.
Right.
So there is no stable coin rails for euro to euro
Yeah.
or USD to euro.
Right.
So it's more on the emerging countries.
Right.
So there is a value, but still the value is not at the worldwide level.
Right.
If you're operating across these countries and you need to move the money to avoid, let's say, currency fluctuation, yes, it's a perfect use case. And
Right.
it is proven. So,
Right.
so many companies, they do offer that service.
Right. Understood. And from a Payrails perspective, what does the next 5 years look like? What's key objectives for you outside of building the Middle East market? What else would you build?
So for us, we are a region industry agnostic platform, right?
Right.
So for us, we will be always in the center of the technical trends, technology trends.
Right.
So today we're talking about agentic.
Right.
When the value is needed by the merchants, we're going to embrace that technology and offer the value.
Right.
5 years later, it might be different. We are the backbone.
Right.
So to some extent, we are AWS for payments for our clients.
Right.
So we need to adapt whatever it's needed in the technology for our clients as a backbone.
Right.
So therefore, Payrails will be always in the center of this innovation. But Payrails will always seek for the commercial value.
Right.
And the problems that needs to be solved for the end customer.
Got it.
So AI, indeed, we embrace AI and deploy in the different parts of the solution. So we offer AI-based chargeback representment. We offer AI-based reconciliation, AI-based transaction monitoring.
Right.
So, or for the executives, so AI-based reporting, they don't need to understand payments dynamics, but they can ask whatever the question in their own terms to get a feeling how the payments is performing.
Right.
So these are the use cases that we deploy, but this is for me just a surface. It's the visible part of the iceberg.
Right.
So we need to go deeper in the
Right.
invisible part.
Right. I remember reading a quote from your co-founders saying, like Amazon Web Services enables brands not to have to worry about building their infrastructure for commerce, is what Payrails wants to do, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, payments is quite local, very, let's say, sensitive topic.
Right. Outside of the serious, I think most of the serious conversation is probably over now, but more from a personal learning perspective, is there, from a payments perspective, is there any company in the world that you look up to and say, these guys have really solved payments?
I mean, there are a bunch of them, right? So I really admire the founding team. I really admire the solution, Revolut. I really admire. So it's impressive.
Right.
The way that they build, the way they scale, the way now they are operating, it's impressive.
Nice.
So or in the payment space, Stripe, Checkout.com, Adyen, they're all great solutions, great teams, great products.
Right.
So indeed, so there are a bunch of them.
Amazing. That's great to know. And from a personal perspective, how do you, one, you told us how you remain grounded despite everything happening, right? But from your own learning perspective, are there any certain resources that you kind of look up to, read through, any podcasts that you follow?
So indeed, there are multiple podcasts. I follow. One of them is your podcast.
Thank
to
you.
see different stories, right? So
Thank you so much. That's flattering.
so I mean, there is no single, let's say, source that I would recommend. So, but I mean, I only recommend to be very open about the problems about yourself and what you see as a weakness, and then it's easier to find the source to learn more.
Right. Is there one single misconception about payments that you want to clarify?
I mean, yeah. So there is this concept of most of the people in the enterprise companies, whenever it comes to optimize the payments, the reaction usually, it works. Accepting payments doesn't mean it works.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean that, right?
Right.
So, or if you need to put an analogy, so if you have a F1 car and the car is this 100 kilometer speed.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Exactly, it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. It's not the main purpose of the car, right? The
Yeah.
car needs to go up to 300 kilometers.
Yes.
So you still need to speed up.
Right.
So that's whenever I hear it works, we don't need to touch.
Right.
Sometimes it triggers me. And I think it's an occupational hazard. So when I see the checkout page is very badly designed, so it triggers me. No, it doesn't work. So your
Right.
setup is far from being optimal.
Right.
So that's maybe also a recommendation to most of the founders. You need to have this patience. So this is the misconception. So whenever you accept payments, it doesn't mean that it works.
Yeah. Nice. And I think one last question is, if you weren't building Payrails, what other ideas would you be?
So look, I'm a father of a daughter. So I like my daughter. I love my daughter more than anything in the world. Sure. So I love to spend time with her. So and if it's not payments, it will be childcare.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Amazing. I think that's about the question that I had. Where can our listeners follow you if they have to follow you on social?
I'm available on LinkedIn. So 724, I try to reply any message. So yeah.
Amazing. Emre, that's about all the questions that I had. I think our listeners are going to just go through this roller coaster with you, because you also said it very emotionally, right? I can actually feel the emotion in your roller coaster days. we hope you have more high days than low days.
I hope so. I mean, look, again, it's a very emotional journey.
Yeah.
So if you're a founder and if you're trying to do it to make money, don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, don't do it. So because the early years is gonna be very painful.
Yeah.
Very painful. It's purely emotional. So one day, a person in the company was asking me, man, how do you handle that? So look, for me, building a company as a father, similar to raising a kid.
Right.
Exactly the same. If you look at the dynamics, so when you raise your kid, you try to teach some ethics.
Yes.
You don't essentially enforce your kid to follow some certain religion or rules, right? You give them ethics. Don't lie.
Right.
Don't hurt people, right? So when you build a company, you do the same. Right. So you create the values. These are the values in this company that we need to go around. Or when your kid is walking on the wall, you don't essentially tell the kid, don't do it. You tell, look, you're going to do that, but if you're going to fall, it might be a bit painful, but it's fine. You will learn.
Right.
So in the company, don't micromanage people. You empower them to make mistakes. Right. So when you hire people, you try to always find the best people because you want your company to be surrounded by good people.
Right.
The same you do for your kid.
Right.
You try to send your kid to the best school, trying to live in the best neighborhood. It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
So your kid and your company. So for me, I have been always telling, I have 2 kids.
Right.
Biological kid, non-biological kid.
Okay. Right.
That's why it's purely emotional.
Amazing. On that note, that's great to end that on that note. I think for all your payment needs, please catch up with Emre and team. I'm sure they'll be very happy to kind of connect with you. For all your commerce needs, of course, there's Find. Follow us on find.com. That's find.com. DM me and I'll tell you why Find is spelled with a Y. Until next time, please take care, be happy, cheerful, and we'll see you on the next episode soon.